Why couldn't Marjorie Tyrell and Oberyn Martell become the sassiest couple in all of Westeros? Well, it's because their families kind of hate each other. But why do House Martell and House Tyrell hate each other? Well, there are 3 big reasons why, so let's go over them. Real quick though, TikTok might be doing the thing again in just a couple days here, so please make sure that you are followed here. I post all the same stuff and the podcast is over there, so yeah, do the thing. So the 3 big reasons the Martells and the Tyrells can't stand each other come down to the region that they are in. They are both located in the southern portion of Westeros. Dorne and the Reach are right by each other, and we'll go over what that causes. Then there are family issues that come from around the time of Aegon's conquest, and then one of the Dornish wars. There were many. And in the more recent times, there was a whoopsie with Oberyn Martell and Willis Tyrell, who is Marjorie's oldest brother and the heir to Highgarden. But let's go over the first one. So regionally, so Dorne and the Reach are right by each other, and because they're right by each other, and Westeros before the Targaryens was always at war, these 2 regions were always at war. Because these regions border each other, and these, feudal systems were obsessed with owning just a little bit more land than the other, there was constantly skirmishes over the border. Do I own this part of the land? Do you own that part of the land? Yada yada. It was excessive. And because when you're at war, people are, not logical, they're petty, and they want to cause and inflict damage and harm. That happened. One of the big cases involved some Dornish kings. I don't remember which ones. I think this was pre-Martell. They basically took over and sacked Highgarden. Highgarden was the seat of the Gardener kings who ruled the Reach for thousands of years, and it was literally their capital. So these Dornish kings taking over the capital and sacking it, it wasn't considered a great thing. And just to rub salt in the wound, when the Dornish did sack Highgarden, they also chopped up and burned what was known as the Oaken Seat. That was literally the throne of the Gardener kings. The Gardener kings believed that they were descended from a mythical figure named Garth Greenhand, who had literally grown a throne out of a living oak tree, and they had, been using it for the thousands of years since. That's the one that the Dornish, chopped up and burned. The people of the Reach did not appreciate this. But don't worry, they got their licks in too. There were plenty of atrocities to go around. One character we meet in the main series named Aris Oakhart, who is a person from the Reach, has a memory of a tapestry in his home growing up that had a bunch of dead Dornishmen around it, and that was a positive thing. The point is, these regional disputes, they run deep. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2, the family specifically, the Martells and the Tyrells. Well, as you'll remember, I talked about how the Tyrells were originally just the Gardener's stewards. They were not a super important house, but they were raised to lords of the Reach upon Aegon conquering and taking out the Gardener kings. And because Aegon wanted to own all of the 7 kingdoms, after he had basically everything, he turned his eyes to Dorne, is okay, let's take care of the Dornish. But the Dornish are notoriously very difficult to conquer, as everyone who tried, including the Targaryens, fully failed at doing so. But boy, that didn't stop them from trying. So Aegon goes to Dorne, they conquer it, quote unquote, and then they leave Harlan Tyrell there to basically be the governor of Dorne, which is a great idea. Let's take someone from the region that is always warring with the Dornish and put him in charge of, ruling the Dornish. Yeah, it's a great idea, Aegon. It's never gone wrong ever. But anyway, that goes about as well as you would expect. At some point, all of the Dornish decided, hey, we're done with hiding, because that's what they were doing. They kind of all hid. And then they all reappeared, and then Harlan had to take his army and start reconquering the thing. And then somewhere in the deserts of Dorne, Harlan Tyrell and his entire army just disappear. What happens to them? No one knows. They disappear in the sand. They are never found or heard from again. And that is the end of Harlan Tyrell. Luckily, he already had a son, so we still had a Lord of the Reach. But yeah, since then, not too keen, the Martells and the Tyrells. They don't much care for each other. It gets worse about 150 years later when Daeron, the young dragon, who is a 14-year-old king obsessed with war, and, we put the teenage boy in charge, so he decides his whole big thing is going to be conquering Dorne for realsies this time. So once again, he does kind of manage to actually militarily conquer the Dornish, and once again he says, hey, let's set up the guy to be in charge, make it another Tyrell. Why not? The Martells and the rest of Dorne, they have no problem with the Tyrells, right? So anyway, this Tyrell, I believe it was Lionel. I want to say it was a Lionel Tyrell. So let's say it's Lionel. If it's not, correct me in the comments. But Lionel Tyrell goes around and he's fully in charge now. The Dornish have actually submitted this time, but he wants to show off. So his big thing is he likes to travel from castle to castle in Dorne and basically make that castle like have to deal with him and put up with him and feed him, etc. And then because he can't just already humiliate them that way, he makes a habit of kicking out the Lord from their own bedchamber and sleeping in there himself. Like, yes, you are the Lord of this castle, but I need to show you like my dominance, so I get to sleep in your bed. It's weird. I don't fucking, But anyway, after doing that a bunch of times, well, he gets a bit of a surprise because one lord, sets him up in his bed. There's this, beautiful bed, nice big velvet canopy. He goes, he sleeps under it. And then at one point, I think there's, one of those, pulley things for, a bell if you want to, ask for shit. It's, for servants, whatever. And he tries to use it, but what it actually does is it splits the canopy and, 1,000 scorpions fall on top of him. Lionel Tyrell did not survive this because Scorpion. That's reason number 2. At this point, these families, they just don't like each other. They keep fighting each other and, the Tyrells keep on not living. But then we get close to the modern day, and we have a tourney going on. Don't ask me which one, I have forgotten. But in that tourney, 2 of the participants are Willis Tyrell, which is the firstborn son of Mace Tyrell, the older brother of Marjorie. Because remember, Loras is actually the third brother, though the show made him the only one. It was a thing. Choices were made. But Willis is competing in the tourney despite the fact that he's a teenager who doesn't have a lot of experience and probably shouldn't be there. And he has the misfortune of having to go up against Oberyn Martell, the Red Viper himself. Now, Oberyn doesn't do anything bad or intentional, I should point that out, but they're doing the whole jousty thing, and there is just a whoops. As they are jousting, Oberyn lands a shot, and Willis goes to fall off his horse, but his leg gets caught in the stirrup thing, and so he falls, and then the horse falls on top of him. This isn't good. They have to send for a maester, but his leg is fully ruined, and he isn't able to walk anymore. So Mace Tyrell blames Oberyn for, making his son a quote-unquote cripple. It's a whole thing. But the irony of it is, despite the fact that it's kind of fueled this hatred, at the very least with Mace Tyrell, Oberyn and Willis still get along. Oberyn talks about how, yes, this is a sore spot for Mace, but Willis and him actually get along. They write letters back and forth to each other, and, they're kind of fine. But who cares about reason when, 2 families want to hate each other? That's more fun. Anyways, please tell me what you want me to talk about next in the comments. Y'all are cool. Okay, have a great night. Bye!